Hi everyone. We're very happy to announce that BIETS Centre of Excellence is entering into a collaboration with a Canadian-based organization called Organizational Excellence Specialists. And we are going to conduct a global assessment of organizational excellence around the world. And we are very excited to have Don Ringrose with us, who is principal consultant and a focal person behind all this effort. And she is leading a team of global experts, volunteers as well, to pursue this objective. And she's really doing a great job in the better interest of global community. So we welcome you, Ms. Dawn Ringrose, to this talk, and this is a wonderful opportunity to briefly talk about the main objectives, purpose, about this effort. And before that, I really appreciate if you could give a brief introduction of yourself and your organization, please.
Thank you, Zubair. It's my pleasure. I've been involved in organizational excellence since 1990. That's about the time that excellence models were first being introduced. And since then, I've worked with a lot of organizations to help address their issues, help develop better management systems with the use of excellence models. And back in about 2010, I saw an opportunity to add to the literature. And so I went ahead and developed a turnkey toolkit that would be helpful to people working in this area and to organizations that wanted to improve their performance.
Okay, nice. So do you also have a support from some international organizations to conduct this study, and are you helping them out also?
Yes, in the initial stages of this study, when we started it in 2015, I did reach out to my international network. It started, actually, it was launched by the Organizational Excellence Technical Committee. That's part of the Quality Management Division at ASQ. And then some colleagues from the Global Benchmarking Network, from the ISO Technical Committee 176, and from the International Academy of Quality were very supportive, saying, oh, we think this is a great idea, and you've got our moral support. And since that time, there's been a number of researchers recruited from around the world. And these volunteer researchers, to me, are the engine that's really driven this study, because there's over 400 professionals around the world that have been reaching out to their contacts and inviting organizations to participate in this study. It's been very exciting.
Yeah, that's really wonderful to know. So could you brief us about the purpose and objective of the study?
You're asking why organizations should participate?
Yeah, so
in the study?
Yeah, so you are conducting this study and you are assessing the organizational excellence for different types of organizations. So what is the overall objective of doing all this activity?
Yeah, the overall objective was to capture, and this is for the very first time, a global organizational excellence index, because it has never been done before. Yeah. What is the current state of organizational excellence? To what degree do organizations have lived by the principles that we know are common to high-performing organizations? And similarly, to what extent have they deployed the best management practices that are common to these organizations as well? And when we were able to capture that, it gives us an idea of what is the current state, what's going well, what needs to improve. And when we can capture this and report the aggregate results by organization size, industry sector, and country, it really gives us a view as to what's going well and what needs to improve. So really the intention was to unite the excellence community on this study for the benefit of the community, for the benefit of the working population as a whole.
Yeah, that's really wonderful. So that means the people who are following Malcolm Baldrige framework. Some people are following ISO 9000 framework. Some of them are following European Foundation for Quality Management, so on and so forth. So by participating in your study, they would be able to connect themselves with all those common practices which are there in the excellence frameworks. Is that correct?
That's absolutely correct. Because the way I look at it, the excellence model that we're using in this study provides a nice big umbrella that provides a cover for everything that we do in quality and excellence. Whether we're using approaches like excellence models or ISO standards, or we're using tools and techniques like Lean and Six Sigma, whether or not an organization has its own improvement initiatives and way of doing things, it really provides a nice big umbrella for all of that, and it's meant to be beneficial to all.
This is really great to know, and that means the organizations which are working in manufacturing or in service, they can all participate into this.
Yes, that's absolutely right. It is really applicable to any size and any type of organization. And when you participate in the self-assessment of your organization, if you, let's say, are from a micro-size organization that has somewhere between 1 and 25 employees, the system automatically defaults to the assessment that's relevant for, a very small size organization. Whereas if you're from a larger size organization, you can do a more robust version of the assessment. And if you just want to participate on the assessment that captures the essence of your culture and that commitment that you have to excellence, that's a very short exercise that allows you just to self-assess against 9 principles. It's quick and easy.
Yeah, that's really a tremendous effort. So that means if the organizations could participate, they could have a feedback on their organizational excellence model that they are following. Without investing any money. Is that correct?
Oh yeah, that's it. To me, there's many benefits of doing this, because number one, people can download at no charge a publication. It's called the Organizational Excellence Framework. And what this publication does is it defines all of the principles and best management practices that are common to high-performing organizations. This is taken from all the excellence models that we have around the world. And then it adds implementation guidelines for the user. That's never been published before. So this is really handy information that helps guide an excellence journey. And help address even issues that organizations are facing, because this gives you a view as to what that issue might be related to and how to address it. It also, if you participate in the teaser assessment, which is just that assessment on the culture, you get a feedback report delivered to your inbox, which gives you really great feedback on any of those principles that might be low rated and what that might be related to. And if you participate in the larger full assessment, you can keep track of your ratings and your open-ended comments, and then you can take a look at the reports that we're issuing and see how your organization compares to others. So there's a lot of advantages. And if at any point in time you ever want a full report back on your organization and an action-oriented kind of improvement plan, you can always ask us for that.
Yeah, this sounds really great. And in fact, if I could say, you are touching the pain points of the organizations. So, but my question to you, have you tested it already? Are you doing it already with some organizations?
Yes. Yeah, since 1990, I've been working with organizations to implement excellence models or to use excellence models to help improve the performance of their organizations. And since I authored this publication and this turnkey toolkit back in 2010 to 2012 timeframe, we've been working with organizations, different sizes, different sectors, to use this model in their organizations. And I never get tired of seeing the great results that organizations get. I think there's a formula for success here. And this is common to all excellence models. And we know this. It's been validated in the research, over the last 25 years. if you implement the best management practices that you find in an excellence model, you will develop a culture committed to excellence, and you will go on to achieve exceptional results across a balanced system of measurement. It's tried and true. We've seen it time and time again, and I've seen it in my practical experience working with organizations, since 1990. It's quite amazing. But you know what? What has always kind of concerned me is that we know from global research that only 10 to 20% of the working population even knows about excellence models. And so I think it's so important that people become more familiar, learn about this, use it to their advantage, and go on to get great results.
Yeah, wow. So it is not only promising, but you have been delivering it and you have shared the results with the community already. That's really wonderful. So is it a confidential study? Are the organizations supposed to participate with their names, or is it anonymous? What do you say?
We've kept this strictly confidential since the very beginning, because we know how much organizations and individuals that are responding to this assessment, we know how important confidentiality is. And so we do ask for demographic information, like organization name and the respondent's name and email address. And then we gather additional information on the organization size, industry sector, and so forth. So we keep that contact information absolutely confidential. We only summarize the aggregate results so we can report what's going on by organization size, industry sector, and country or region of the world. And we don't even reach back out to the respondents unless we have additional questions, or we may be asking if maybe a few more people from their organization could participate in the study. But that is absolutely confidential, and we don't reveal that. Very, very important to the study that we earn the trust of the people participating in it.
Yeah, so that is really good. And that means as an organization, we can still participate, we can report our results, we can voice our opinion, and at the end of this process, we get back the overall analysis and the conclusion, and we can use this report to assess ourselves, and we can use it to plan to move to the next step.
Yes, and this is so very important for organizations. It's like a process that we go through. It's familiarize yourself with excellence models, because the people responding to this study are on a continuum of, on one end, I've never heard about excellence models before, and right up to the other end of the continuum where, well, we've been using an excellence model and doing really well with it. So we've got this wonderful continuum of potential respondents, and that's very, very important. And really, the real value that they can get out of this is to, number one, see how their organization measures up. How does it compare to a high-performing organization with respect to the principles and the practices? Then next stage, they can say, gee, how does our organization compare to other organizations by size, industry sector, country, region of the world? And that gives them some wonderful feedback. The next step really after that is to say, gee, what can we do within our organizations with our employees and all their wonderful ideas and suggestions to improve? And then what can we learn from high-performing organizations to improve even more? Really, it's this wonderful process that you can go through to get the most out of working with this sort of information and working with your employees and learning from others that will really accelerate the performance of an organization. And you know what? It doesn't take an awful lot of time to do this. It I'd say most of the work is inside the organization that needs to be done along with the employees, but there's so much that we can offer to help any organization along the way.
Yeah, that's really inspiring. And by the way, how much time would be required for the organization to participate in this study?
The teaser assessment, where you assess your organization against the 9 principles, takes about 5 minutes. So it's real quick turnaround, and then you if you've entered your email address correctly, you'll get a feedback report delivered to your inbox automatically. The full assessment takes about 15 minutes for a micro-size organization, and for a larger size organization takes about 30 minutes. But I'll tell you, when you go through the full assessment, if you don't know much about excellence models, this is a really good experience. We've seen in the open-ended comments how much organizations have appreciated going through the assessment, and some of the comments that people have made, they've said, oh, this is why my organization might be adrift at the moment, or this is validated that we're doing a few things really well, and yes, there's a few things that we need to work on, or it gives full validation for, yeah, we're on the right track. So you get, depending on where an organization is in their life cycle, and stage of excellence, you'll get these different responses. But I see in the open-ended comments that over the last 5 years, that the respondents have seen a tremendous amount of value coming out of this for them.
All right. So what do you think, who from the organization should be participating into this? I mean, which function or which position should be really active to think about this and participate?
We've been targeting the leadership and management, although we have been getting some responses from staff, which is just fine. But leadership and management have a tendency to know more about the management system that the organization is using, and the way they communicate with employees about it, the way they share performance results, and so forth. So, a CEO, a quality manager, an excellence manager, if an organization has it, a financial, a CFO, or the person who looks after the financial aspects of the organization are often very good people to report back on this. But it doesn't mean that let's say the human resource professional or the IP professional or the marketing professional can't participate too. If they're at a management level and they really have a good handle on the organization and the way it does its work, then they're free to respond. So that's what we're looking for.
Yeah, so the people who are managing the show for ISO 9001, or who are responsible for Malcolm Beldridge Award, or for European Foundation for Quality Management, all are good, managers to participate into this assessment.
Absolutely. Yes, if an organization is using a particular excellence approach or quality approach, and the person leading the charge, good one to respond. And if an organization doesn't have that sort of thing going on, and they're doing things kind of in their own way, whoever's in charge of operations usually has a good idea about what an organization is doing or not doing, because we take a look at the extent to which they're using a best management practice. They may not be using it at all, but they may be using it in varying degrees. So we ask them to use the rating scale that defines these sorts of things and choose the rating that's appropriate for them.
Yeah, and I'd say that it is really a priceless investment, only of a few minutes of the time to participate in teaser study, and the organization can really earn unprecedented benefits. So the people who would be participating would actually be the primary beneficiaries as well as their organizations. That is really wonderful, and I think Don Ringrose, that BIETS Centre of Excellence and your organization can really join hands together and use our synergy to promote it and let the people get on board and let them help out all over the world.
I'm so pleased that you're participating with us and we're working together on this, because together there's so much more we can do. Do you know, that's the way I look at this study. Probably one of the most exciting things that's happened as a result of this study is the chance for us to join with really good professionals all around the world and reach out to our contacts, invite them to participate, and get a good sample size, so we can come to some conclusions about what is the current state of excellence, and in a way that will be beneficial to all those that participate, or all those that want to learn about it too. So I'm really pleased that we're working together on this, Zubair. Very, very pleased.
Yeah, so Don, really appreciate your time for this talk, and we look forward for a good working relationship, and let us benefit the community together. Thank you very much for your time.
Yes, and my thanks as well, Zubair. Thank you very much for conducting this interview.